Right, buckle up, because this past week has been, a truly wild ride across the globe. From unexpected political pivots to powerful moments of human achievement and even, a groundbreaking new digital saint, there's just so much to unpack. For this deep dive, we've sifted through a whole mountain of sources, really. Everything from major news outlets like Google News, Mint, India Today, The Economic Times, BBC News, all the way to UN News. Our mission: simple: to unearth those crucial nuggets of insight, cut through the noise, and sort of connect the dots so you can effortlessly grasp the bigger picture of what truly mattered this past week.
Exactly. And it's not just about understanding what happened, but why it matters, right? We're going to delve into the underlying currents, helping you see how seemingly disparate events are interconnected, how they're shaping not just global geopolitics, but also influencing our daily lives in, well, sometimes surprising ways. It's about making sense of the world, not just observing it.
Absolutely. And there's probably no better place to start than the geopolitical chessboard, specifically the intriguing shifts in U.S.-India relations. We've seen some truly surprising developments this week. Sources like the Times of India and the Hindu highlighted former U.S. President Donald Trump's significantly softened tone towards India and PM Modi. I mean, both leaders exchanging an unusual amount of praise. This is quite a departure from previous interactions, isn't it?
It really is. And this softening in rhetoric isn't just, diplomatic niceties. It feels like a fundamental recalibration. The Economic Times, citing an ex-diplomat, mentioned interpretations like Trump realized India won't surrender and even brought up a triple T big.
Triple T, what's that?
Right, so triple T apparently stands for Trump, tariffs, and trade. It's a pointed reminder of that past economic friction we saw. It sort of implies Trump's recognition, maybe, that India is assertive enough to push back on trade demands, that maybe a different approach is needed now. Washington appears to be acknowledging that a rising India, with its, fiercely independent foreign policy, is now a partner they need to engage, perhaps more on India's terms, not just dictate to. India, though, seems to be waiting, holding back on calling this a definitive reset in relations, suggests a cautious approach to these warmer words.
Okay, so it's less about a sudden friendship and more about maybe a strategic concession from the U.S., recognizing India's indispensable role in this rapidly shifting multipolar world. That's a critical angle to consider, especially given the past tensions over trade and tariffs we've witnessed.
Definitely.
And it seems those tensions aren't just in the rearview mirror either. Trump is also talking about a second phase of sanctions on countries buying Russian oil. Now, this is a move that could directly impact nations like India, who've, been relying pretty heavily on Russian crude, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the pressure is already mounting. You have the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent being quite vocal, explicitly accusing India and China of supporting Russia's war in Ukraine and calling for more sanctions.
Right.
He suggested these new penalties could directly hit India's energy imports from Russia. That's a direct challenge to their energy security and their neutral stance in this conflict. It forces India into a really difficult balancing act.
Yet, amidst all this tough talk, we also heard a kind of surprising counter-narrative. Mint and India Today reported that Bessent also mentioned the U.S. might refund half of tariffs imposed by Trump under certain conditions.
Which is interesting timing.
It is. And apparently this follows federal court rulings that determined Trump actually lacked the power to levy those tariffs under a specific 1977 law. For clarity, that was the Trade Act of 1974, specifically Section 201. The law was initially designed for national security crises, not broad trade disputes. So the courts essentially said you can't use a national security hammer for a trade nail. That's quite a significant legal nuance with implications for future presidential trade powers, I'd imagine.
Indeed it is. And it brings us right back to that immense economic tightrope walk for countries like India. They're balancing the need for affordable energy, crucial for their growth, protecting vital domestic sectors like agriculture. You saw Arvind Kejriwal daring PM Modi to slap 75% tariffs on U.S. goods in response to duty exemptions on U.S. cotton imports, right? Arguing it disadvantages local farmers.
Yeah, I saw that headline.
So they're juggling all that while also trying to maintain crucial international trade relationships and facing this intense geopolitical pressure. These tariff discussions, they directly impact global trade flows, commodity prices, and ultimately, livelihoods within domestic economies. It really highlights the intricate dance between national interest and global alignment in real time.
Right. So India is essentially diversifying its risks, playing it smart. It makes sense. And these complex trade negotiations, they aren't just about goods and services, are they? They inevitably intertwine with the movement of people. That brings us to the very personal stories emerging from the immigration landscape. particularly for Indians in the U.S. We've seen Google News highlighting concerns that data sharing between U.S. agencies heightens risk of deportation for unauthorized work for Indians. And France 24 even went as far as to say the American dream is over for Indians as U.S. carries out mass deportations. That paints a pretty stark picture, increasing vulnerability for many.
It does, yeah. But it's also crucial to acknowledge the counter-narrative, too, I think. Newsbreak reported that communities across the U.S. are expressing solidarity with immigrants, rallying under the banner of "no human being is illegal." It reflects a diverse, often contradictory societal response to these challenges. It shows a strong current of compassion against the backdrop of stricter enforcement.
And, on the digital front, we always get these interesting little tidbits that pop up online. Mint in India today reported on a U.S. man's H-1B visa rant, not India for kids, which sparked some pretty intense mixed reactions.
Ugh, the H-1B. For those who don't know, that's the non-immigrant visa, allowing U.S. employers to temporarily hire foreign workers in specialty jobs, especially tech.
Right. And this incident really brought that ongoing, often heated debate around skilled immigration into sharp focus online. And in a related sort of vein, Elon Musk actually clapped back on X, emphasizing how community notes ensure people decide the narrative after a Trump aide made a controversial anti-India rant.
What these stories reveal, I think, is how these big international trade agreements and immigration policies reflect a fundamentally shifting global order. And they also have profound human stories behind them, impacting individuals and families directly. Everything from economic opportunities to the very sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And the digital sphere, like you mentioned with Musk's comment, it just amplifies these conversations, right? And offers new avenues for public discourse, even on sensitive international issues. It's a powerful demonstration of how quickly narratives can form and shift in our hyper-connected world.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit from those economic intricacies, let's turn our attention to the echoes of conflict and the urgent calls for peace we've heard. The situation in Ukraine has tragically escalated this week. India Today and BBC News reported that Russia launched its largest aerial assault on Ukraine, apparently hitting a Kiev government complex for the first time since the full-scale invasion began. It's a really sobering reminder of the ongoing conflict.
Indeed it is, and the humanitarian impact is just immediate and devastating. The UN reported providing urgent support after this massive Russian attack across Ukraine, highlighting the ongoing suffering of civilians. It's a constant struggle, really, to get aid to those who need it most, with infrastructure and homes consistently being targeted.
It's awful.
And there was a poignant specific detail here reported by BBC News. Ukraine midfielder Georgy Sudakov's apartment in Kyiv was severely damaged, struck by a Russian drone while his family was home. It just puts a very human face on the conflict, Illustrates that even those seemingly removed from the front lines are deeply affected.
Yeah, absolutely puts it in perspective. And moving over to the Middle East, the Gaza crisis continues to demand our attention. Hamas stated it's immediately willing to negotiate a Gaza deal after Trump issued what was called a last warning to accept his latest ceasefire and hostage release proposal. That was reported by India Today, Mint, and the Economic Times. It sounds like there might be a narrow window for diplomacy opening up.
Well, the crucial aspect to understand here is the interplay. You've got this diplomatic pressure, yes, but it's happening against the backdrop of a grave humanitarian situation on the ground. The UN Emergency Relief Coordinator issued a stark warning. He said the window to prevent famine spreading in Gaza is closing fast.
Wow.
This isn't just a prediction, it's an urgent plea. For the affected populations, the stakes are literally life and death. Now, Hamas linked its readiness to negotiate to specific conditions: a complete Israeli withdrawal and an independent Palestinian committee to administer the territory. These conditions are highly contentious, obviously. Their acceptance is a major sticking point. It just underscores the deep political and strategic divides that complicate any resolution, even amidst this humanitarian catastrophe.
It really feels like the world is constantly teetering on a knife edge sometimes.
Yeah.
But then you get these moments like India lifting the Asia Cup in hockey that just remind you of the incredible spirit of competition and collective joy, almost like a necessary exhale.
Yeah, a bit of relief.
So let's dive into some triumphs, technology, and timeless moments. First up, a big sports spotlight. India lifted the Asia Cup after 8 years, beating Korea 4-1 to book their World Cup spot. A huge win, reported by India Today and the Economic Times.
It was a proud moment. Particularly noted, I saw, in the state of Bihar, with its deputy chief ministers hailing India's Hockey Asia Cup 2025 victory. These national victories, they really transcend sports, don't they? They foster a powerful sense of collective identity and pride. It demonstrates the sheer power of human endeavor and teamwork. It's more than just a game, it's a cultural touchstone that can unite a nation.
Totally agree. Then, over in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz delivered another spectacular performance, winning the U.S. Open 2025 against Jannik Sinner and reclaiming that coveted world #1 ranking.
Incredible player.
And here's a fun anecdote that became a bit of a meme fest online. Trump's reaction to Alcaraz's U.S. Open win went viral, apparently due to his unusually muted reaction to the stands. Alcaraz even joked that he sees Sinner more than my family, which I thought perfectly captures the intense rivalry and mutual respect at the very top of the sport.
Huh. Yeah, those moments of triumph on the global stage, they offer a different kind of deep dive, don't they, into human endeavor and national pride. They represent the peak of individual and collective achievement, reminding us of the dedication, the passion, the immense mental fortitude involved in reaching such heights.
Absolutely.
And the fan reactions, like the Trump memes, show how these events become cultural touchstones. They spark conversation and shared experiences far beyond the actual court. They connect us to larger narratives of success, effort, and sometimes, yeah, unexpected celebrity reactions.
Okay, next up, a truly unique story. At the intersection of faith and technology, a teen coder, known as God's influencer, becomes the first millennial Catholic saint, as reported by India Today and BBC News. Carlo Acutis, British-born Italian, died at just 15 back in 2006 from leukemia, but not before using computer coding to spread the Catholic faith around the world and documenting miracles online. It's an incredible story of modern devotion.
It really is. And what's particularly noteworthy in this situation, I think, is what it means for a modern figure, especially one who embraced technology so fully, to be canonized. It signifies a potential shift, maybe, in how traditional institutions like the Catholic Church acknowledge and integrate modern tools and figures.
Interesting point.
It prompts us to ask about the enduring power of faith in our increasingly tech-driven world, and how it continues to find new ways to connect with people, leveraging the very platforms we use daily. Acutis' story shows this remarkable bridge between ancient tradition and, well, cutting-edge digital communication.
Fascinating. And finally, let's take just a couple of fleeting glances at domestic life and natural wonders that caught our eye, things that remind us of the diverse tapestry of our world. Locally, Mumbai's Labaksha Raja Visarjan, which is a massive Ganesh immersion procession, was delayed by over 8 hours. India Today was asking what caused the unusual 13-hour delay. Also, PM Modi is set to visit Himachal and Punjab on September 9th to assess rain-inflicted damage, as reported by Mint, highlighting the ongoing impact of natural disasters.
Right. These local stories, from the logistical challenges of a huge festival to the immediate impact of natural disasters, they remind us of that diverse tapestry of daily life. It all continues alongside the major global headlines. They speak to the immediate realities and concerns of communities, often reflecting immense resilience and the importance of tradition, even in the face of disruption. They're very grounded human stories.
Yeah, definitely. And globally, millions in Asia and Europe enjoyed breathtaking views of the blood moon this week. Reported by India Today, The Economic Times, and BBC News. Witnessing the second total lunar eclipse of the year.
It's just a powerful reminder, isn't it, of the grandeur of the universe, offering a moment of collective awe that kind of transcends all our human dramas.
Indeed, yeah. These celestial events provide a universal experience. They cut across borders and cultures, offering a perspective beyond the daily human drama. It's a moment of shared wonder, reminding us of our place in the cosmos and the beauty that unfolds irrespective of our earthly concerns. Wow, okay. What an incredible blend of stories and insights we've covered today. I mean, from high-stakes geopolitical maneuvers and complex economic pressures to inspiring sports victories, groundbreaking cultural milestones like the first millennial saint, and even a dash of local color and cosmic beauty. It's been a week that truly showcased the sheer breadth of human experience.
What's truly insightful here, I think, is how interconnected these seemingly disparate events really are, how they shape our understanding of the world and ultimately our daily lives. The global stage isn't just a collection of independent incidents, is it? It's a dynamic web where one thread often pulls on another, influencing everything from international relations right down to individual opportunities.
Absolutely. So thinking about this fascinating blend of policy shifts and deeply personal stories we've explored, here's something for you to consider. What do you think is the most unexpected way these events might influence your own community or choices in the coming months? How do we, as informed individuals, navigate this constant, sometimes overwhelming flow of information and truly make sense of it all beyond just the headlines? Keep those questions in mind, keep digging, and stay curious. Until next time on The Deep Dive.